Good morning guys. So today we have some hernia surgery. So I'm just going to show you, or try to show you at least, what my hernia actually looks like. So then we've got like a before and after. So hopefully in this light you can see basically here I have a hernia, and I actually have two. Apparently there's one inside here and there's one above as well. So what I did was I have Bupa private medical insurance, which I think was like, it's about 80 quid a month, but it's 80 quid a month, and that's like for no excess, and it covers you for pretty much everything. So obviously I noticed this hernia, spoke with them, got booked in for surgery. I actually have gyno surgery. So today is Wednesday the 10th of December. I have gyno surgery on the 18th of December. So basically bolted these two together, which is the benefit of having the private, is you can sort of pick and choose. It's not like the NHS, where I don't think they'd even do this on the NHS, but you'd be waiting probably like 2 or 3 years to get this done. Whereas I've managed to pick a date which works for me so that I can balance my recovery. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to megadose TB500 and BPC-157. I'm going to do 30 milligrams a week of each. Just a little disclaimer, this is not educational advice, this is not me giving you advice, this is literally just an experiment, and I'm going to see how good these peptides are, because obviously with this is something that I'm going to be able to track visually with the scar, with the healing, with the wound, which is what these peptides are actually meant to be used for. So if I've got something like an incision where I can actively look at it and gauge it on a daily basis, then I can see whether or not, use ChatGPT, whether or not it's actually making a significant improvement to the healing time. Now obviously typically for hernia and gyno, you're talking out at the gym probably for like 6 to 7 weeks. I know some people go in sooner and start doing a little bit of cardio and a little bit of legs. That was my intention, or that is my intention, is to go and do like some pump sessions on the legs, basically nothing that creates too much core pressure or anything that's going to create strain on them, like moving my arms around obviously once I've had the gyno done, because obviously I want the best result from it possible. So I'm not going to try and rush back to training, but at the same time, if there's things that I can use that are going to make it quicker and speed up that process, then I'm going to try that, and I'm going to document it in these videos for everyone to see. So obviously I'll put a disclaimer up if I'm going to show like scars or wounds or anything like that, so that anyone who doesn't want to look at any minging shit doesn't have to. But yeah, so I will check in with you when we are on the way to the hospital. So we are on our way to West Midlands Hospital now. Obviously I'm going in as like a private patient, so I've been told I have like my own room with an ensuite and all that sort of stuff, so I'll film that when we get there. I'm going to ask if they'll let us film the operation. They'll probably say no, but they might do. You never know, if you don't ask you don't get, so we'll do that. I bought these little cushion things off Amazon, which are actually for women that have had hysterectomies. Obviously this one's for when I have the gyno surgery, which isn't until next Thursday, but I've just popped them in the car now. And we have the missus who's very kindly driving us to the procedure, because obviously I'm not allowed to drive after a general. I am going to ask if they'll do it under local anaesthetic, because I'd rather not get put out if I can avoid it. That was something they did mention previously. So we'll see what they say. And yeah, so obviously these, in case, I mean, if we have a crash, then these obviously aren't really going to do anything. So don't piss your girlfriend off when she's driving if you're recovering from an operation, because we had an argument a number of years ago, and she reversed the car at speed into a wall. Yeah, so no arguing and no crashing in the car.
It wasn't at the time.
Yeah, well, it wasn't funny, no, not when I had to pay for it to be fixed. But yeah, so anyway, I will check in with you guys when we are at the hospital. So this is the room that we have for our private stay, which actually, to be honest, this is nice. It's one of the first times I've used like private, and it's definitely shits on the NHS for sure. So I definitely recommend getting yourself Bupa, because it's like £80 a month for no excess with like the top policy. And yeah, this is much better. They just had like a catering lady come in and ask me like what menu I wanted for my food afterwards and all this sort of stuff, and I had a cappuccino and all this. So yeah, I'm going to ask them if we can film. Obviously you'll find out whether they let us or not. So I am awake And unsurprisingly, no, we were not allowed. So, I am awake. They obviously did not allow us to film, but that's not surprising. They said it was one hernia that was just quite large that sort of joined, so I'm not sure what the crack with that is, but we have some food, which is going to go down a treat. They gave me some jammy Dodgers straight after, and they're probably the nicest jammy Dodgers I've had. In reality, they were probably shit, but they tasted pretty decent, especially when you're dieting and your appetite's pretty high, and I've not eaten since 9 o'clock yesterday, and it is currently, what is it, like 5 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. But I have my helper with me, who's been amazing, to be fair.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so far so good. I will give you an update in a little bit. Not really in any pain, but they gave me a load of fentanyl, so that's to be expected. And I didn't say anything embarrassing apparently, which is great, because you hear all these stories about people coming around from anaesthetics and being like totally out of it. So yeah, but no, sleep was top notch. So we are, how many days is it now? 2. 2 days post-surgery. 2 days post-surgery. This is what we have on at the moment. I found myself walking around
You're getting me all in the
like,
frame.
I don't care, that should be fine. Shouldn't be a problem with you being in the frame. So we are, I've got to hold the microphone. We are 2 days post-surgery at the moment. I found myself walking around, you know, like that thing out of 300, that film 300 where there's that fucking weird little cunt with the hunchback. I found myself walking around the house like that. Also, I'm not going to show you, or I might show you. It's probably not as bad, but at the end of the day, if I've been sat up for a while and I get this sort of like swelling here, I look like I've got like a gunt, like this really big sort of like pouch at the front. I don't know if you'd have been able to hear anything like that because I'm holding the mic. So anyway, we are going to take the dressing off now. I've already started the TB500, so I've already done a vial. I'm going to go into that a little bit later in more detail. But now, going to take off, or attempt to take off, the dressing, and we'll see. I probably should get my partner to do this because she's a nurse, and I'm not, but I'm going to do it as slowly as possible.
Remember it's swollen as well, babe.
Is that because you can see my belly button and it looks fucking weird?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it look weird?
Mhm.
Who fucks me belly button?
It looks like a sad face at the moment.
So, that is it at the moment, obviously with some swelling. We will see. Hopefully, obviously, it doesn't stay looking like that. Because it's gone from being like a normal sort of like sized round hole to like that. Which I don't want, but you'll see if you look down, like you can. There's a lot of swelling. There's a lot of swelling, so
This is to be expected.
we'll see. But the scarring so far looks all right. But yeah, we'll go from there. I'll give you an update later. So we're on day 3, and I thought I would show you what's going on because these peptides definitely are doing something for sure. So let me just spin this around so I can see what I'm doing. So that is our incision after 3 days on the peptides. Now, I'm not sure about this bit because obviously he's cut, like, I'm not a surgeon obviously, but maybe someone can tell me if I'm wrong, but I would assume if you're dealing with like a circular opening, that it would make sense to do a circular incision, not a fucking straight line and then pull things taut. Because if you've got differences in your belly button, for example, where all of us do, you know, you've got little bits that are outy, little bits that are inny. If you're just doing a straight line, just pulling everything, it's just going to move that shit. It's not, you know, if anything, I would think that you'd need to remove parts of that, but then I guess that's the difference between cosmetic surgery where versus just going in and being like, yeah, I'm going to fix your hernia, like the hernia being the primary issue that they're trying to fix, not the way that it looks afterwards. So obviously I appreciate it's way too soon to be like sitting here looking at it going, oh yeah, but it's like it's this bit here, whereas you just assume that that bit would be, if the incision was here, it would have pulled everything sort of tight. But this is more about the healing process. how quickly we can return to training. I have gyno surgery a week Thursday, or this coming Thursday, the 18th. So it's going to be a double whammy of recovery, and then we'll see how quickly we can get back to training, because typically I think they say 6 to 7 weeks for training. So let's see. And I'm not going to try and rush back to training, but what I am going to do is just, you know, see how quickly. But so far, when I showed one of my pals, he was like, mate, you haven't got even any like scabs or anything like that on the scar at all after such a short period of time. So there definitely seems to be some benefit so far to this. And I will say that the pain that I was getting sort of from like sitting up, abdominal pain, obviously you don't realise how much you use your core, has already subsided quite significantly. So yeah, all in all, good result so far.